4 ways for you who have been diagnosed with diabetes to lower your glucose more quickly in a natural way without the need to inject insulin or use any other medication on a temporary basis. In this week's video, we will talk about some tips and techniques that you can start applying at home to better control your glucose levels and, in the medium and long term, reduce your glycated hemoglobin to avoid the dreaded complications. A very important video, so take advantage of it. Watch until the end because I am sure you will leave here learning more and more. And the number 1 tip is to use apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar has been widely used by type 2 diabetics to reduce glucose after meals. So using this strategy can be beneficial because apple cider vinegar helps to increase insulin sensitivity. And what does this basically mean, Edu? For type 2 diabetics or pre-diabetics, it will help make insulin work more effectively. And consequently, you can keep your glucose better controlled after meals. But Edu, how can I use apple cider vinegar here in my house? Initially, you will take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, dilute it in a glass of water, and before your meal, drink this glass of water. So you put 250 to 300 ml of water, dilute it properly because apple cider vinegar can cause stomach problems if you take it straight and can also affect the structure of your teeth, especially regarding the enamel. So one must pay attention to avoid creating other problems. So you can use apple cider vinegar before the lunch meal, especially since that is when you usually consume the largest amount of carbohydrates, and if necessary, also before the dinner meal. You don't need more than that. Ideally, you should use it only once a day, and in some studies, we have already observed that apple cider vinegar can reduce the glycemic response by about 33% in a meal that contains carbohydrates. Therefore, it is important to use apple cider vinegar when you have carbohydrates, which is usually at lunch or dinner. If you have a meal, for example, breakfast, where you only eat eggs and cheese, you do not need to use apple cider vinegar as you will not gain any direct benefit. But in a lunch meal, where, for example, you consume a bit of baked sweet potato or a little bit of brown rice, it can be beneficial and will help improve insulin sensitivity, which will consequently reduce the glycemic response. That is, it will prevent a spike in glucose after your lunch meal, and it will help control your glucose, lowering it more quickly in a natural way. So, follow this tip about apple cider vinegar as it is beneficial. But if you are experiencing stomach pain, burning, or nausea, then you should stop using it and talk to your doctor. Of course, you need to be cautious and smart. These are tips to improve your treatment in a correct way and that truly have excellent benefits for the health of diabetics. But remember, once again, taking a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in water is not going to solve your problem. It will help lower your glucose, but to be able to lower your glycated hemoglobin and avoid the onset of complications, you must take care of your treatment daily. Therefore, once again, the treatment for diabetics is carried out at home starting with the changes you begin to make within your house, okay? The second tip is to stay hydrated. Building on the point about apple cider vinegar, which needs to be diluted in a glass of water before consumption, those diagnosed with diabetes need to stay well hydrated. This means drinking water regularly to ensure that your body's hydration is maintained. But Edu, how much water should I drink per day? Only 2 liters. 1.5 liters? I can't drink that much. Here's a golden tip for you if you don't know how much water to drink daily. You will take your body weight and multiply it by 35, and then you will know how much water you need to drink every day. So let's take a basic example here of a person weighing 100 kilograms who needs to drink an amount of water multiplied by 35, which will give 3,500. So this person needs to drink 3,500 meters of water, which corresponds to 3.5 liters of water per day. I want you to comment here. Now, what is your calculation based on your body weight? Because then we can discuss it and you will learn more about how to stay hydrated. An important point is, but Edu, hydration is important. I know that, but my glucose always remains high. Why? This mechanism of drinking water with high glucose is a defense mechanism of the human body. In other words, the human body perceives that glucose is high in the bloodstream, so it needs to eliminate this glucose from the bloodstream in any way possible. It is a very, quote-unquote, easy and quick way to eliminate glucose through the kidneys. In this case, the person starts drinking a lot of water because their glucose is high. The kidneys begin to filter more quickly because there is a lot of water in the body. With plenty of water circulating in the bloodstream, and along with this water, glucose molecules are eliminated. However, excess glucose molecules filtered by the kidneys can cause damage. That is why you cannot rely on this strategy of your human body to eliminate your high glucose. It is very important that you seek mechanisms to stay hydrated while keeping your glucose under control without forcing your kidneys to work excessively. Because if he does this very frequently for many years, and because glucose is always high, glycated hemoglobin is always elevated. The complication known as diabetic nephropathy may occur, which directly affects the kidneys and can lead to renal failure and, unfortunately, result in episodes of hemodialysis or the need for a kidney transplant. So it is very important that you stay hydrated, monitor your blood sugar, and control your glucose to avoid episodes like this. Okay? The third tip is to engage in light or moderate physical activity after your meals. This does not mean having lunch and then doing weight training, for example, but rather having lunch, allowing your digestion to occur calmly, and then going for a walk. After dinner, take your time to digest, sit down, read a book, watch a bit of television, or enjoy a series, and then after 30 minutes to an hour, take a light walk around your neighborhood, in the park, or in a place where you enjoy doing physical activity. Physical activity after eating greatly aids in the functioning of your body, especially in reducing glucose levels in the bloodstream. So, when insulin sensitivity works better, you can take all the glucose that is in your bloodstream and move it into the cell, causing the elevated glucose levels in your bloodstream to decrease, and thus you will reduce your glucose naturally. So, moderate physical activity, such as a walk or a bike ride outdoors at a relaxed pace on flat terrain, or even walking on a treadmill, or using a stationary bike at a lower intensity, meaning without great effort, can help you keep your glucose well controlled naturally. But once again, it is not by following these tips that I am giving here throughout this video and eating recklessly that you will solve your problems. And yes, by doing your part, eating well, engaging in physical activity, as I mentioned, staying hydrated, reducing stress, and cutting down on excess carbohydrates, you will be able to keep your glucose more stable and, in the medium and long term, maintain good glycated hemoglobin. So keep watching to get the tips and start the changes you need to make inside your home, okay? And the tip number 4, which for me is the most important, is food control. And what does that basically mean, Edu? It means the diet of a diabetic in an intelligent way, reducing rapidly absorbed carbohydrates such as refined sugar, demerara sugar, rapadura, sugar cane juice, and juice sweetened with sugar, including also fibers, vegetables, greens, and leafy greens, which we emphasize a lot here on the channel, also including proteins, preferably lean proteins. So, skinless chicken breast, ground round, and red meat in general with lower fat content are recommended. Pork loin is also welcome for those who want to eat pork. Fish, such as tilapia, is also a good option. And then you will manage your diet in a more interesting, smarter, and more accurate way. Because from the moment you have a well-controlled lunch with reduced carbohydrates, and then immediately take a light walk. Before that, take your apple cider vinegar. Stay well hydrated, and you won't have problems with high glucose. But of course, these tips do not replace the prescription of your current medications from your doctor. You should not stop using the medications he prescribed and follow these tips. This is a process. You continue with the medications, but you can also do your part. What we aim for is to improve your habits, incorporate new habits, and thus reduce the need to use medications to control your glucose, which is basically reversing a diabetes diagnosis through the maintenance of good habits and consequently not having to use medications to control glucose. And that's where you understand where we want to go. Reversing diabetes, quality of life, health, well-being, good self-esteem, and living free from the onset of complications, which is something very serious, something very grave. I will leave an important video here that you need to watch in the description, so when this video ends, go watch it to learn more. And these were the 4 tips to lower glucose naturally without having to use medications or insulin, for example. It is one way with which you can act in a cleaner, so to speak, easier way, because you can do it at home. And it will definitely give you excellent results, okay? If you are still watching, it means you enjoyed the content, and if you liked it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give a thumbs up, activate notifications, and most importantly, share this video with that friend of yours who might have questions about how to reduce high glucose levels throughout the day. That friend of yours who always has postprandial glucose levels above 180, because it costs you nothing. 20 cmt, 240 cmt, because it costs you nothing. Share it on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, as this way YouTube starts to understand that it is relevant content, valuable content, and spreads it to more and more people. Now I want you to stop everything you are doing right now. Because if you give a rating from 0 to 10, I will know that you watched this video until the end and that you want to change your life, improve your treatment, and gain more health. Here next to me, I will leave more great content, so don't forget to keep binge watching the videos to gain more health, a better quality of life, a more beneficial treatment, free from complications, and in balance with your life in a much lighter and smarter way, okay? So we will leave it here. May God be with you all, and see you later.